Hey, She Should Run. Thank you so much for sending me your questions, and I'm gonna try to answer them. So the first one is, what was one of your failures in your startup? I think that one of my failures in my startup is like, I always wanted to go really fast. And I, in the beginning really had to learn that like, you can't go as fast as you want to, and that there's a process for like taking things slowly and trying and experimenting and then building quicker. And I think the idea of kind of iteration out of failures was something that I learned very deeply. Second question, what are some of your current daily acts of bravery? Well, we're living in these really crazy times, and some of my daily acts of bravery right now is just admitting that I'm scared. I am so good at like pretending like I'm good and I'm fine. And, I have a newborn and a 5-year-old, and I'm running an organization, a nonprofit, in a time where we're about to have, a global recession. And it's really, 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 really scary. And so part of my kind of daily act of courage is just acknowledging that I'm afraid and saying that that's okay and sitting with it and then moving forward. Third question, as women, how can we approach bravery when society seems to reward men for bravery, but only women when they succeed? This is so true. Like I always say, like in Silicon Valley, men can't even get funding unless they've had 3 failed startups. But for women, it's like, oh, I don't know, she missed Q1. And we're especially in this moment where I feel like we're reading a lot about women CEOs and their failures. And you have to ask, like, is there a double standard for men and women? And is failure a privilege just for men? And sometimes, yeah, I think that the answer is yes. I think we treat women and men very differently when it comes to risk-taking, when it comes to failure. And it's something that, as a woman, I know it makes sense of why we think twice and why we're perfectionists. And it's something that has to change. And I think that means that we all have to recognize that we have gender bias when it comes to failure. And that there's a different price that women have to pay when they fail. What are the ways that we can encourage little girls to be brave that's appropriate for their age? I think it's so important to tinker and to take things apart and to let them use their hands and get real dirty and to stop ourselves. I had a friend of mine who was teaching her baby how to walk. And she was standing behind her baby and she was like, be careful, honey, be careful, honey. And then she's like, and then I heard her voice in my head and I changed that to go baby, go baby, go baby. We got to let our girls fall and to get like dirty and messy and to maybe even break something. And it's okay. And that's the only way. When they get rejected and they fail and they mess up, that's the only way that they're going to learn. And they're going to basically learn how to be imperfect, which I think is so important. Lastly, what are the ways that women can support each other in pursuing bravery? The sisterhood is everything. We have to encourage one another to take risks. We have to support each other when we fail. We have to be the first one to hand them over a glass of wine or a margarita and say, it's okay. Like tomorrow is another day. We have to be the first ones to write a check when a woman's running for office, or the first one to, make an investment if we can. If somebody is about to start a business, we have to watch ourselves when we find ourselves critiquing and criticizing women in ways that aren't quite frankly helpful. And we have to think about, like, where does that come from? Like, I feel like sometimes when we are critical of other women, it comes from a place of regret or envy. And we have to acknowledge that and sit with that and to watch the way that we talk about one another. And most importantly, like, I have such a powerful sisterhood. There are so many women who have just lifted me up. And every day I think about how I can support another woman, how I can help another woman, how I can like help another woman rise up. And I hope you do too. I love this community. I love She Should Run. I love everything about this organization, everything that you stand for. So I'm so happy you're reading Brave Not Perfect. I hope it's changing your life. And in this moment of crisis, I know we can find courage. Thank you. Bye-bye.